Hi, this is Deadly Void from Diablo 3 Strategy Guide. Today we'll be going over an auction house, how build types influence you. This is going to be an intermediate guide, so it'll go essentially until about Act 2 Inferno. Things definitely change when you're trying to farm 3 and 4, and we'll go over that in a later video. But predominantly what we're going to be talking about is up until Act 2 Inferno. So the question is, why does this matter and how does it influence you? First question you need to ask yourself when you're building your character and starting to item build is, what do you want to accomplish with your character? I mean, do you want to be a massive DPS character with a two-hander? Do you want to be a one-handed character? Do you want to be a tank? Do you want to maybe be a wizard tank? These are all questions you need to ask yourself in terms of when you're putting together your own character and what you're looking for in the auction house. The second thing that you do have to take note of, and this is more in the dollar tips, is the fact of, the more cookie cutter your items and your build goes, the more expensive it'll be. Because essentially these cookie cutter builds have beaten the game. And so these cookie cutter builds are what's going to be looked for. So the closer you get to that, the more expensive they will be. We might cover a little bit in terms of the pricing of them themselves, but I don't think that's our focus in this video. And this is where we'll spend most of the time here. It'll be on the class breakdowns, what you might be looking for. I'll go over a few different types of strategies within each class, but the rest of this video will be going over the 5 different classes, what you're looking for, and also in what order. Okay, now we'll be going on to that portion of it. Okay, so for the barbarians, here's a list of essentially the attributes on the items that are important to you. Broken down, I would say these are the 3 biggest attributes you're looking for in your gear, regardless of what build you're going. If you're going a lot more DPS, the strength definitely will get you there. If you want to go a little bit more tank build, the vitality goes there. And essentially for the damage mitigation, resistance is very, very, very good. You also get, of course, your war cry with the resist. So resist do stack and the vitality gives you armor. So in terms of looking for items for a barbarian, regardless of what class you're trying to, what type of barbarian you're trying to build, these are the big stats you're looking for. Of course, in terms of finding it a little cheaper, if you have a higher vitality instead of the strength, typically it will be a lot cheaper. Barbarian gear in general is a lot cheaper than any of the others, so you can usually find a pretty good deal. In terms of the resistance itself, the primary is the all resist that you would be looking for. The secondary would be the physical resist, and this is for the damage reduction when you do get hit like this, or if someone hits you with a bow. The additional mods, and these are kind of the 4th or 5th mods, the cream mods that you can get, unless you're specifically looking for a big damage reduction, is your armor. So it'd be like a plus armor mod. You can get the damage reduction, so it'd be like a 4% damage reduction from elites or ranged or melee. You can get the block, and this is more specific for the shield. You have a few uniques that can give you additional block. And I would say in terms of increasing your overall, it's what's known as the effective HP. Life on hit is a very, very good way for both barbarians and monks to increase that. And if you are going a life on hit build, I would strongly suggest that you bump up your strength and your resist. This is more your damage mitigation than your vitality, because these become a lot more effective per hit. And again, if you are going a life on hit build, I would suggest stacking a decent amount of attack speed to take advantage of that life on hit. And I think that's the basics of the auction house for the barbarian. Again, you can search for within the auction house specifically where you want to specialize in, and looking for the values differently, just to see what's out there is important, as well as just keep checking the auctions, because honestly good stuff leaves quick, and if you keep checking you'll find something. Okay, so this is it for the barbarian. Okay, so here's monks. Personally, my own favorite. I do play predominantly a monk. I changed from softcore to hardcore, just beat Act 3, so I am kind of breaking it down for you from my own fresh perspective of trying not to die. But for monks, the big thing that you're looking for is dexterity and resist. These are probably the two biggest stats you'll be looking over. The reason being is dexterity, you have a passive that increases your armor 1 point per dexterity. So you're not only getting damage, you're not only getting dodge, but you're also getting armor. So it's a lot of mitigation from one stat. The second is a resistance. We do have a passive rune that's one with all. It gives you all your resists according to your specific resistance. And I would suggest in terms of what you're looking for, in terms of the specific resistance, if you want to try and find cheap stuff, you go for lightning, you go for cold, things that don't really happen in the game, that people aren't really looking for, that are outside of the monk, but it's a ton cheaper. I was kind of silly and went fire myself, but the fire, I think, if I take it off, it'll be useful. So dexterity and resistance, very big. Resistance is huge for the damage mitigation, even in hell. I noticed that for me to progress through hell, I needed it. I have it around 300 plus. For the vitality portion, it's important, but not as important, because monks, there's a lot of heals that monks have as a class, and as a result, the more vitality you have, the less effective they get. So even if, and we're going to be talking a little bit about EHP in here, it's effective HP again, and as you have more vitality, your heals get less effective, therefore the amount you get in terms of the EHP, it scales down as you improve your vitality. Okay, so very good mods on. After these three, I would say increased attack speed is probably the biggest one, and the reason being is regardless of what you're trying to accomplish, you get back your type or version of the mana through your increased attack speed. You have to attack. It's the only way you can get it unless you want to waste some things, your skills on it. But increased attack speed is very important. I don't think it's more important than being able to survive, and as a hardcore player, this perspective might be a little bit biased, but increased attack speed is very important. Also in terms of survivability, once you get to Hell and Inferno, you need a leech of some sort, and until you have like 1500 damage one-hander, life on hit is going to be one of the big ways that you survive. It is what allowed me for Act 2 to be difficult to being easy. It's that big. And you can even drop a couple hundred damage on your weapon to get a good life on hit, and you'll even notice the really huge difference. Okay, so life on hit, especially on the weapon, it's necessary. Regardless of you trying to go a damage build, a tank build, you need it. And the last one, of course, is armor. Armor is always good, but it's really not as important as these other mods here. I would say regardless of what you're trying to accomplish with your monk, these are the three that you're trying to look for. These are the three big stats. Again, the specific resist is very important because with the rune, you can stack the all with your specific, giving you essentially double the resist. That's essentially the wrap-up of the monk in terms of what you're looking for on the auction house, and we'll move on to the next three very quickly. Thank you. So this is the wizard. I think in terms of the three primary stats, you can either go two different build types. It's of course more glass cannony and a lot more tanky. But regardless of what you're going for, intelligence is huge. The resistance is the secondary, probably biggest one in terms of the damage mitigation. And vitality comes in the second. And the reason being is that the all resist is very important with the force armor in terms of allowing you a little bit more survivability. And these are the three primary things that you're going to be looking for your wizard. I think that right here, this is probably the biggest one outside of these three, and this is your ability to kite. The higher move speed you have, the more you have in terms of your ability to kite without having to pop your teleport. So this is very important for any of the ranged DPS. We'll be including that as well. But attack speed, not as important, I don't think, as move speed, especially with some of the builds out there that doesn't require it as much. And this is a very cute bug, I would say. I don't think it's part of how they wanted to design Hydra, but every time you pop a Hydra, you get the life on the kill from whatever modifier you have. Typically it's a weapon, and what I've heard is it's 3 times the amount of the life on kill, so you can heal a lot using the Hydra when you're running away. So you'd be running away, using your move speed, you can teleport if you get in a bind, and then you pop the Hydras to heal. The last one is the armor. Really, it's not as important. Getting your intelligence, especially once you hit Inferno Act 1, Act 2, getting it to about 150 to 200, and you're getting your resist about to 50 plus is probably what you're going to be looking for predominantly for your wizard. And I did spell it wrong on purpose, like a wizard. But this is what you're going to be looking for the wizard, and we're going to be going over the next 2 very quickly. Thank you. Okay, so witch doctors are actually one of the most fun classes, and it's surprising that there's not much noise about them. But I think the difficulty in terms of playing a witch doctor, especially solo, is the fact that they're very, very easy to kill. Very easy to die. Even if they have a cheat death ability, the fact is they'll probably still get 2-shot in Inferno. And it just makes surviving a lot harder. In softcore, I would say that the big thing that you're looking for, especially, is the intelligence, and maybe the IAS, which is increased attack speed and the plus damage. And this really allows you to do a ton of damage. Zombie Bears is just ridiculously strong. You can just roll through creeps, assuming you have something to tank. Kiting yourself is very difficult. If you are playing solo, you can look for a little bit more move speed to help you kite around, but I would say Witch Doctor is probably the best support. I know that Diablo 3 doesn't really have support classes or tank classes, but it's definitely the best tag-along class to have with specifically this. If you're doing it in which you don't want to die as much, or if you want to try it in hardcore, I would definitely suggest getting it Intelligence and All-Resisted Vitality. And what this will allow you to do is, instead of getting 1 shot and having to run away for a cooldown on it, it allows you to take at least 1 or 2 hits and then run away. Definitely this is really, really big if you want to survive. But other than that, you know, Witch Doctors are very, very glass candy, even more than Wizard. That's basically what you're looking for on the Witch Doctor. So this is a Demon Hunter. This is essentially the reason I am playing hardcore. They are just broken. Demon Hunters are just broken. So if you want to take advantage of being a broken class, the best class in the game, the first class that cheats their way through Inferno and is getting you all that level 60, 63 item level 63 gear, the 1500 damage weapons, this is the way how. As you can see here, there is no mention of any stat to help you survive. And this is because essentially you're going to die. You are the ultimate glass cannon in the sense that you can really pop out 200,000 to 300,000 damage a hit using a few of your passives and stacking all of these stats here. It definitely allows you to do the most with your Demon Hunter, but you really do have to expect to die a few times. It's just a reality of how you play Demon Hunter, and probably one of the reasons that you won't see very many in hardcore. The primary one is Dexterity. You can find a lot of high dexterity, not very much secondary mods for very cheap. So it also means that you can gear a Demon Hunter very, very quickly and easily compared to the other 2 classes. The second one is the increased attack speed. This is very useful to pop off. Instead of maybe getting 2 shots and then kiting a little bit, you can get 3 or 4. And that's essentially doubling your damage output. Of course, you need move speed because you're kiting. This is the bread and butter of how you're doing it. The other way is you can cheese them a few ways, but we won't go over it in this video. The last one that's I think equally as important is a crit hit and the crit damage. Both of these need to be pretty high to take advantage of the crit hit chance. So I would say actually that crit hit damage is a little bit more important than the crit hit itself. But in essence, Demon Hunters, ultimate glass cannons, definitely can kill things very quickly in Inferno. And these are the main stats you're looking for. So just to recap, and I'll just erase this board here, the 5 different classes of what you're looking for. Again, the closer you get to the cookie cutter builds, the more expensive it'll be. The more mods you're looking for, the more expensive it'll be. So, as I showed, typically the first 3 primary mods, these are the big ones you're looking for. Anything outside of it it's just cream. So if you can get better these 3 primary stats on your class versus these extras, I would say go for these unless you're having specific problems. So that's a general overview of how to use the auction house per your class in terms of your stat breakdown, that you can get the most out of your character. If you want more tips, tricks, check out our videos. We're going to be posting more content, especially because there's going to be maintenance tomorrow. And we also have additional higher level guides, as well as much more in-depth guides that will have statistics and breakdowns of why you should do that in our pro guide. Again, it's Diablo 3 strategy guide, and I hope you enjoyed listening to me today. Thank you.